Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You got your very own international man of mystery here. That's right, you guessed it, you got it, Edward Stevenson himself. This evening, I'd like to take some time to profile an interesting stock play, one by the name of TriStar Holdings, stock symbol TSHL. So who is TriStar Holdings, and what exactly do they do? Well, TriStar Holdings is a holding company, a business that profits from targeting undervalued assets and then eventually establishing greater returns from it. It consists of two main divisions: the Emergency Response Hospital Unit, which is wholly owned subsidiary, and TriStar Gold, which targets the mining industry. Their official website is listed at the bottom of the screen. In my personal opinion, this may become one of the most successful short to mid-term plays of all time. That is not to say that it cannot become a successful long-term investment, however. For me, it all began when they first released a PR announcing the start of construction of the ERHU prototype. The Emergency Response Hospital Unit is quite simply nothing more than a self-sustained portable hospital. It consists of 100 beds and fully sanitary wings that inflate from the flanks of a vehicle in less than an hour. It can be airlifted or delivered as a fully equipped motorhome and or coach bus. Take for instance all the hurricanes, tornadoes, and other natural disasters that cause 1,000 fatalities on an annual basis. Imagine having the ability to respond to something like that by bringing a hospital onto the scene within hours, as perhaps the roads make the destination inaccessible. Their airlifted unit would not only provide shelter to those wounded and in need of medical attention, but would also equip medical personnel with all the standard emergency equipment found within a stationary hospital. I was most animated when about a month later that TriStar Holdings released PR claiming their interest in international activity. The United States is not the only country in risk of natural disasters. Central America has been tragically affected by some gruesome mudslides, and Asia has experienced some deadly earthquakes, not to mention destructive tsunamis. Here I see where the potential of the EHRU unit would really take off, saving not thousands, perhaps millions of lives on an annual basis. Providing help where it is most needed, that's where this company's ERHU unit would really take off, and reflect upon the price per share of the stock. The other component of TriStar Holdings, perhaps the most thrilling, is the mining division. That I will get to shortly, as now I wish to proceed by taking some time here to compare TSHL to that of the well-documented 0005 to 065 runner GSPG, a company focusing on precious metal mining, namely gold. The main idea here is to absorb how much more potential TSHL has than GSPG in completing such a run, if not one greater, simply based on the criteria present. To begin with, some have stated that companies such as TriStar Holdings cannot prosper because of a lack of indecision in primary business outlook. Change in name and industry, however, is also well documented with GSPG, as their history clearly depicts three name changes, not to mention complete alteration in their business pursuit. Sound familiar? Looking at the chart here, you can see how beautiful this run really was. What everyone should know is that during this extensive period of time, GSPG had a lawsuit filed against them. To add to this, a mountain-high pile of convertible debentures and notes payable hanging over their heads, and nevertheless up and about and running, as the idea of such large gold deposits to make up for all the liabilities and debts this company currently had. In comparison to TriStar Holdings, well, to be honest with you, there is no comparison. If TriStar Holdings manages to prove that their gold assets are valued at approximately that of which they were estimated to be valued at, well then nothing that the company throws in the direction of shareholders, no dilution of any sort, will stop this machine. This leads me into my next point, where I would like to compare the share structures of the respective companies. The first document on display here is the 10QSB form filed on August 14, 2007. This here shows how the outstanding count increased by more than 500,000, or 77% over the period of 3 months ended June 30th. That is the 2007 count compared to 2006. And following that, the 6-month ended period, where an increase of more than 100% in share count can easily be conceived simply by a glance at the figures. This all goes to show how a stock that is so massively diluted can run upon the theory of gold, the idea that the company is loaded with gold. Now take into consideration here that GSPG has a 4 billion authorized count, while TSHL quietly sits at 1.7 billion. In my opinion, once those real numbers on the gold they have acquired hit the newswire, man oh man, watch out, because even if the company throws all 1.7 billion into the outstanding count, PPS will move up so high that will be everyone's last concern here. Here I hope you can all clearly see that for a company with such extensive assets, such a share structure is certainly insignificant. Even more peculiar, I found it interesting that before this whole story really took off, with GSPG that is, they hired an expert to help them develop the site. Does this particular individual remind you of anyone? Oh, say Larry of Azrock, perhaps? You see, ladies and gentlemen, these are concrete steps that must be taken in order to really establish a solid base for the company at this point. And TSHL is doing a better job of that than GSPG did by going the extra mile. And finally, we reached a point where GSPG, just as TSHL has recently done, began assembling the management team. No, not the A team, but a group of highly qualified individuals with the common interest of developing the company and shareholder value. Now on to the focal point in this play, the mining division, TriStar Gold, where it all began with the idea of a mother lode. The Lucky Linda claim, consisting of what is believed to be $81 billion in estimated value, on a 160-acre claim. From this sprung the acquisition of 3 additional copper mines, the Blue Jay claims number 12, 13, 14, which are estimated to contain approximately $500 million in copper ore. Not too long after that, the company ventured into further asset acquisitions, only to find themselves purchasing 2 additional gold mines in a $4 million deal, where Salome claims costs 1 and 2 are estimated to contain over $50 million in gold ore. Now at this point, some may wonder how the company will be able to finance such expensive projects. Very simple, the answer pertains to PR, where the company clearly stated, using 144 restricted stock and revenue sharing agreements, we have been able to acquire more than 80% of the rights to each of our mines with no money down in the claims, allowing us to allocate the capital to equipment, assaying, and operational startup costs. Does this mean that the company will not be diluting? Absolutely not. But it ensures shareholders that the company will not be diluting in order to find the greatly needed finances for their mining projects. Accordingly, on November 11, 2008, the company announced that they had acquired yet another mine, one to serve the main purpose of providing the company with immediate cash flow, as this project would focus on mining alluvial deposits for minerals. The other key thing to know as per this press release is that the underlying phrase by which the company did not disappoint. I have recollection of several shareholders who have already claimed that their dividends have been received just as promised. This subsequent press release, actually the most recent, can be thought of as somewhat of a last piece to the puzzle. They mention several key things, including successfully refined amounts of gold with the company's small-scale processing equipment, and the management anticipates the Wickenburg operation to be generating revenues by next week, which in turn, just as I have mentioned before, was the main idea behind acquiring such an asset. Nothing more than immediate cash flow to assist with larger projects, such as the Lucky Linda claim, otherwise known as the mother lode. Lastly, in retrospect to the potential revenue, this company sits ridiculously undervalued with a market cap under $1 million. Now, as I have mentioned before, there is absolutely nothing, not nearly enough shares, to stop a run from occurring when figures of gold revenue begin hitting the market. Remember that even though the market is in somewhat of a recession, gold will always be considered a strong investment, and thus it will retain its high values and along with the market make a comeback, perhaps even set new all-time highs in the coming months. This will prove to be consistent timing with that of when TSHL may potentially be prepared to begin selling their immense stashes of gold. Once again, this was your very own International Man of Mystery, Edward Stevenson. Thank you all for your patience in adhering to this presentation, and Godspeed.